This is how I personally run my cold approach sessions in busy, bustling New York City. Hey, I'm Shaka. Welcome back to the Man Alive channel. This channel is all about helping middle-aged professional men who are tired of dating apps get dates through cold approach. This is the only thing we talk about here. This is absolutely it. You can check out some of the content we've done before. There's tons of stuff. But today's video is on the structure that I use to run sessions in New York City. So let's get straight into it. The first thing you do, that I do, is choose days. Better to choose at least 3 because for anything that's new and novel, you need enough time doing it to get used to it so that things click. You get that momentum, you get that motion going. At least 3 days. I used to do 7 days. At one point, I did 7 days. I went out every single day. Can lead to overload. Definitely not. You don't want to start there necessarily, unless you really have time like that. So choose, as I say, and I chose, at least 3 days. At least 3 days where I have an hour, maybe even a half hour if time is busy. I have some other stuff to do, some other running around to do. Half hour to an hour, best an hour and a half to dedicate to going out. I choose the amount of approaches that I'm going to do and the location that I'm going to get them done. So it all depends on the learning curve, where you are in learning. The newer you are, the more approaches, repetitions you should aim to do. But the newer you are, the harder it will be to do those repetitions. So if you give yourself a half hour, let's say a half hour after work, you get off work 5:30 to 6 or 5:45 to 6:15, you're going to go approach. You might want to do 10 approaches, you might want to do 20, but the fear and the anxiety will probably stop you and you won't get that much done because that's one thing, that's a big barrier that it takes time to crack through. So maybe you just put down 3, right? It's not going to be a huge win for the day. You're not going to feel like you did that much, but it is that much in the scope of everything, right? When you take a long view and you see the entirety of what you do at the end of a certain period of time, 3 approaches, 3 days a week, we'll say, will actually add up. It will add up and it will lead to progress. You just want progress. You just want to focus on improvement, progression, and getting better. That's it, right? So even doing one approach, even one, that seems like, well, I'm not really doing anything. Anything is better than nothing. So which this can be a whole different topic, but the perfectionist mindset of it must be this way at this time always is not a good route to go down, right? So if you had to cut it down to 15 minutes twice a week, one approach, that's still better than nothing. It's still better than nothing. Something will always be better than nothing. So the perfectionist in your head, throw them out, right? You can throw that baby out with that bathwater. It's just junk, right? Don't be a perfectionist about it. Just get this done. That's it. Do what you can handle. You choose a location, a busy location. I like to go to Midtown. If you're in the New York area, Midtown is packed. New York is packed pretty much just about everywhere, to be honest with you. All boroughs, all times, it doesn't matter where you go. Unless you go somewhere like Staten Island where nobody walks around and You know, they have one train besides the ferry is nothing. You know what I mean? Like somewhere other than that, and Long Island, you know, well, Long Island has a big crowd too, depending on where you go. But other than places like that, you live in the Bronx. I'm sure you're running into tons of people on a daily basis. You're living in Queens, wherever the heck you live, you know, Brooklyn, wherever it is. You got tons of people surrounding you. You want to go somewhere where it's tons and tons of people. You're not necessarily going to run into the same people over and over again. I like Midtown when I go. And I do not go out with the expectation to change a lot of things. Maybe I'll tweak one thing or I'll work on one specific area as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to beat myself over the head with it. If I do not do, let's say I'm working on Kaki Funny and I want to get 5 repetitions out. I may do 10 approaches and 5 repetitions. Even if I do less than 5 repetitions, if I do some, if I get some work in on that, then I'm happy, right? I monitor it. It's progress to me. I pat myself on the back about it because you just want to slowly, slightly move in a right direction where you're correcting yourself, you're seeing what you're doing, you're moving forward, right? You don't want to be too dogmatic about it. If I went out with the intention to do 10 approaches and I'm going to try this thing 10 times, that may not happen, right? Depending on the approaches, the situations that I'm approaching in, time frames, all of this stuff, right? So you want to go out with your eyes on practicing certain things that'll help you, but with a reasonable expectation and a reasonable amount. For a lot of new guys, it will just be approaches. So you choose an opener, you come up with an opener that you like, that you think will work, and then you go out there and you test it. Maybe you want to do 10 approaches. Maybe you do 10. Maybe you'll only try that new opener 3 times, but that's still something. And you want to monitor that over the course of a period of time, right? 30 days, 60 days, etc. The last thing that I would say is you want to do a trial. So 30 days, like I mentioned before, 60 days, 90 days. You want to keep this going for as long as possible because the longer you keep it going, the more you actually learn, the more you pick up from it, the more you get from it. So you want to keep your progress going over a protracted period of time. That's very, very, very important to do. Doing it for short sprints, short bursts, it doesn't really yield the consistent progress that improvement requires. So I would say take this routine. Maybe you do 3 times a week for an hour, 5 approaches in a busy place, right? Midtown Manhattan for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. And you see how that works for you. You have an opener to practice, right? You have an opener to use that you've written down that you want to test and see how well it works. And you go out and you do that. Of your 5 approaches, maybe you'll try the opener twice. And you'll record those. And you just keep that going. That just a simple system like that builds a lot of momentum behind you. And you can see a lot of growth and a lot of progress just from doing that. I always tell guys, it's all about the journey. It's all about the progress. It's all about the process and improvement. If you improve enough, you'll get everything you want. And that's true in cold approach. That's true in life in general, right? If you can constantly find ways to improve, you'll get everything you want. So remember, simple process. Choose the amount of days you go out. Choose the time frame you go out for. Choose the amount of approaches you want to do. Choose the place, crowded place with tons of people. you want to approach in. Choose the specific thing that you're going to practice above all else, that you'll give your attention. And after it's all said and done for the day, when you wrap up, you evaluate how you did, how many times you practiced, and how did it go, how it went, right? The reactions that you got from doing what you were doing, and you commit to a protracted time period. So 30 days, 60 days of doing that. After 30 or 60 days, you may switch it up to, you may increase the frequency, you may dial it back or dial it down, depending on whatever your schedule requires. But you keep that system in motion, in play, I guarantee you'll see some fun results. So get out there and do it. Until next time.